No, go
Sorry.
ahead.
Yeah.
I know you don't like making visual jokes, but I kind of wanted to make one about how we just like swapped out Kevin for Michael Jackson and we just blurred him for, anonymity purposes.
Because he was there.
Yeah.
Settle in and listen to our mixtape and now the music vanishes. Enjoy your buttons sandwiches.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fun-filled and exciting edition of the Mixtape. I'm Jason Emmett.
I'm Casey Masterpiece.
I'm Twisted Kid Matt.
And I'm the delightful Stewie D.
Delightful.
Delightful?
Huh?
Delightful Stewie D.
He's like, I don't have a nickname. Yeah, we'll just do that.
One thing we've been discussing doing in the past is talking about some weird-ass conspiracy theory stuff in music, and we decided to do that this week, so we're going to do that this week. And what we're going to start with is did Michael Jackson fake his own death? And we're going to get into more as we go on. If you guys have like a big conspiracy or something in music that you would like to talk about, let us know and we'll kind of look into it. We have some other stuff like on file that we're thinking about. But the other thing I want to bring up, and we've gotten some votes, we've been putting up on our social media, TikTok, or not TikTok, Twitter and Facebook. No, there is one on TikTok actually. Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. We have put the question out there. We have listed, what do we got, like 15?
Yeah, I think
14?
it's like 15.
What we did
albums.
is went to Rolling Stone from like last year and got their 100 greatest albums of all time, according to like people who've voted. And then we whittled that down to 20. Then we took Marvin Gaye out completely
I've got to bleep
Lots
the
of
name
his
there.
name.
We'll bleep the name.
Yeah.
because
We removed somebody
had
of high profile.
so many issues with his stuff on this show. So we took that one out, and then we all got to veto one album, and then whatever was left, which I think came out to like 14 albums, we put out there for you guys to vote on, and you guys have been voting. And whatever gets the top vote, we're going to do a deep dive into that album, like the making of the album, everything about the album that we can find. It's pretty interesting. Do you guys want to take a guess right now? Not you, Max. You know, because I told you. I think. Do you guys want to take a guess what is in the lead as far as voting as of this time? We have had votes for 4 albums, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5 albums.
You guys want to take a guess what is in the lead?
Let's say
Fleetwood
Thriller.
So it is Thriller. Fleetwood Mac is in number 2. Fleetwood Mac had taken the lead at first. I will tell you guys the ones that have gotten votes so far are Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, Thriller by Michael Jackson. One that has gotten quite a few votes, which I thought was kind of cool, is It Takes a Nation of Millions. So Public Enemy,
Oh.
which is really cool. And then one other got a vote.
I think it's
but
the
don't remember what it was.
Clash.
It's the Clash, London Calling.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but Thriller is leading by I think 1 vote right now. So, yeah. So if you guys want to go on a vote, let us know. There's actually a good chance we'll talk about the top 3 at some point, but definitely the top 1. We've had an interesting kind of season opener. So we did the East Coast versus West Coast. If you guys haven't listened, that was our season opener, and then we talked about music scores and recast Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. And this week we're going to be talking about the music conspiracy theory that Michael Jackson faked his own death. We're going to get into it now. We don't know. I don't know.
Conspiracies from
I don't know if these guys buy into it a little bit or if they think it's total bullshit. We don't know yet. I have no idea yet.
I'm
But
kind of
we're
on the
gonna-
fence, to be honest. I've seen some things that made me question things, and other things I'm like, nah, dude.
That's
dude's dead.
that's kind of me too. I know it sounds ridiculous. Okay, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in general. Like usually, I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I think
it's
he's very
fun.
quick to shut down ridiculous ones, like I don't know, Puffy had Biggie killed.
Just, we don't talk about
I
that.
don't talk about that one. Vladimir
Bruno.
Putin.
Just saying.
Hip-hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to get into conspiracy theories, even if I don't buy into some of them. But there are the occasional few where certain things start coming to light, and you're like, There are things that need to be remembered when we go into this. This was not 2023 or 2024. This was 2009, and I'm saying that because things weren't as some things that are easily faked now. Like we didn't have deep fake technology and shit like that back
Right.
when this happened. That's important. So let's go over a little bit about this whole his death and some of the stuff that's been said about it. And we'll get your guys' thoughts as we go, and then we'll talk about some of the evidence, as it were. So June 25th, 2009, Michael Jackson dies of acute propofol intoxication in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 50. That's already weird. He was 50 exactly. Come on.
I got 2 more years.
He was found in his bedroom, pronounced dead at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Westwood at 2:26 p.m. So on August 28th, 2009, the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner Coroner concluded that Jackson's death was a homicide. Jackson had been administered propofol and anti-anxiety. Oh God, I'm gonna benzodiazepines, lorazepam, and midazolam. And guys, I was a pharmacy
you.
tech for 14 years, and I still can't pronounce that shit.
Bless you.
These were all prescribed to him or administered to him, not necessarily prescribed, by his own personal physician, Conrad Murray, for which he was convicted. Conrad was convicted of involuntary manslaughter on November 2011.
So is he still in jail?
No, he got out 2 years later, 2 years of a 4-year sentence.
He
So
didn't
at the
kill
time
anybody
was-
else while he was in prison, I guess.
So at the time of his death, Jackson had been preparing for a series of comeback concerts called. Do you guys remember what the tour was going to be called?
This is it.
This is it. This is it. I mean, because this is it.
This is it.
It's kind of like a mix between Michael Jackson and Trump.
That's what I was doing. My Michael Trumpson.
Oh God.
This is it. Those were set to begin in July of 2009 in the UK. And of course, he passed away in June, the month prior. So,
Or did
Or
he?
so they think.
so his death, this is all really important stuff. His death triggered a spike in sales of his music.
Which
and-
everything always does.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we're going to get into how much his did. It was insane. The televised memorial service that they held for him at the Staples Center had over 2.5 billion viewers. I watched part of it.
Televised?
Yeah, they televised the memorial
Yep.
service. They had
Yeah.
all these people get up and
I watched a little bit of it too.
now there some important stuff happened there. Do you know that there is a guy in the audience that people believe was Michael Jackson? That in costume, and they like you can go watch it. People will zoom in, and it's kind of like, it's
Could have
weird.
been an impersonator dressed up.
So that's something we'll get into a little bit too, the whole impersonator thing. But how that could go against him faking his own death, or how that actually might work in his favor of him faking his own death. So here's what we've been told. All right, he had long suffered from insomnia. Was said to have had a long history of using different medications to help him sleep. His physician gave him various drugs the night that he passed away, supposedly. After hours and trying a bunch of different things that night, he still couldn't fall asleep. So he started requesting milk. Milk is a nickname for propofol. It's a very common nickname for propofol. It kind of has a milky appearance to it, and people call it milk of amnesia. It's kind of like the joke.
Okay, I thought it was possibly a Game of Thrones reference. They had Milk of the Poppy in that, and it was kind of a
I mean, I guess
painkiller type of
Could've read
situation.
books, but
Yeah.
the show wasn't out yet. So
Yeah,
no, people call it milk of amnesia, and I guess it has like a white milky look to it. So he started asking for his milk. At this point, it is now
he
past
just
10.
genuinely meant like 2%, and they're like,
he
"Yeah,
he
sure,
really
here,
just
just take
wanted
this."
milk. Just warm it up, and that'll help you sleep.
cookies. I'm trying to
Yeah, some Hershey's in it. Yeah, there's some more milk.
chocolate milk in there. Get the
Oh.
bunny.
So at this point, it is past.
Right.
Remember to drink your Ovaltine. So at this point, he's been up all night. It is now past 10:30 a.m. He's still awake. He can't fall asleep. So Murray decides he's going to give him the propofol.
Like a 20-year-old gamer. Jeez.
Michael Jackson falls asleep, right? And Murray leaves the room to go to the restroom. Says he's out of the room for a couple of minutes, but when he comes back, he finds him not breathing, non-responsive, says he has a really weak pulse. So he calls for help, calls, I don't know if he calls 911 or just calls, I don't know. And then he starts trying to revive him. This is all according to Murray.
Yeah.
Paramedics arrive. They perform CPR for over 40 minutes at Michael Jackson's house. And according to Murray's attorney, Michael Jackson still had a pulse when he was taken in the ambulance to the Los Angeles Fire Department, or by the Los Angeles Fire Department officials. But they said that according to paramedics, when they found him, he was in full cardiac arrest already, that there was no pulse. It's a little weird to me that they were trying to perform CPR for over 40 minutes before taking him to the hospital if he had no pulse at all.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's a little
But this is the
suspicious.
first thing. This is the first thing you're going to find. So much stuff doesn't track. All this weird shit happens right from the go. So they take him. They take him to the hospital. They said during the whole drive there, they didn't notice any change in him. They take him to Ronald Reagan Medical Center. A team of medical personnel then attempts to resuscitate him for more than an hour at the hospital, and then they finally pronounce him dead. Accusations start flying pretty much right from the get-go, and all these conspiracy theories emerge from like day one. Things just don't really add up right, and a lot of them come from his closest friends and family. Now, we're not saying that right at the beginning they're saying he faked his own death. We're saying people are saying he was murdered. People are saying things weren't done correctly. Don't know. Here's some weird stuff, though, right from the start. The LAPD did not secure Michael Jackson's home, and they said people were coming in and out. Family was accessing it all, removing items all throughout this whole, like right at the beginning. Like no one secured the site. And the department raised concerns by some observers that the chain of custody had already been broken right at the beginning. So the other thing that's really weird is they didn't bring any homicide charges against all the people who had supplied drugs to Michael Jackson, only against Murray, who administered the drugs. So all these other people, they don't get any charges brought against them. They looked into them. So apparently this has been going on for a while. We've had people come out now that say like he was on like anti-anxiety meds and sleeping meds and stuff for a long ass time. And there's a lot of people that think it has to do with when all the charges were brought against him. And he I mean, obviously the guy suffered from some mental issues. I mean, I don't think that's a big shocker to anybody in the world. So, yeah. So all assets from Michael Jackson's death or whatever are given to a pre-existing Michael Jackson family trust that was amended in March of 2002. Here's the thing. The details of that trust have never been made public. No one knows where the money's allocated. None of us could figure that out, even if we wanted to. So all the money after he died goes into a trust, but we don't know where that trust goes, who gets the trust. We don't know. So that's interesting too. So the Associated Press reports that in 2007, Jackson had a net worth of $236.5 million, $567.6 million in assets, which included Neverland Ranch and his 50% share of the Sony ATV publishing catalog, but that he had debts of $331 million. So we still, with his net worth and his assets, he's still positive, but he's in debt as well. And I'd heard this a lot. That Michael Jackson owed a lot of money to a lot of people, and it was because of his spending habits. That he would just buy stuff because,
yeah, I saw a video of him one time. He's like furniture
Walking
shopping.
to
He
the
goes,
store?
I want that. I want that. I want that.
I'll
And
take two
give me
of
2 of those.
I've
Let me
seen
get
it.
I
that.
want to buy a llama.
Well, and then he would buy a llama. I mean, if the dude wanted a llama, he bought a llama.
Yeah,
I'm
one
sure he
there,
had a
there's
llama.
like a
Yeah,
Chappelle.
went to the llama store.
Yeah, there's like a
Just got
Chappelle
couple
joke where he's
llamas.
like, he had giraffe money. Like he just
Well, he
he'd
did.
just go and buy a
Yeah.
giraffe
He
if he wanted to.
had like a personal zoo
Yeah.
at Neverland
He had
Ranch.
Bubbles. Like everybody knows about Bubbles.
Right.
Bubbles.
Is Bubbles still alive or did he
No,
die?
Bubbles passed away. I
No,
think.
died of an overdose.
It's not true.
I have no idea what happened to Bubbles.
The syringe still in his arm.
Separation anxiety.
Yeah, he died from separation anxiety. He had a broken heart.
Yeah.
You
It's
know
like
what's
Free
funny?
Willy too.
You know what's funny? When he died, Michael Jackson left full custody of the kids to their mother. But if she was not able to or did not want them, do you know who was to get parental rights
Is
to
it
the kids?
Bubbles?
Was
No.
it like a cousin of Michael's
Nope.
or something?
Latoya?
No.
Nope, it's not a relative at all. Diana Ross.
What? Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like,
does
come
that
on,
shock
kids,
you?
ease
I
on
mean,
down,
He was,
ease on down the road.
he was supposedly in love with her for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really close friends, from what I gather. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Stu, you were talking about how the record sales and stuff go up. Well, let's talk about how much his stuff went up after he died.
Did he
After
get out
his
of debt?
Oh God, yeah. Could he have gotten out of debt? Yeah. His record sales increased dramatically. Some say 80-fold by June 29th.
God.
Okay. He died on the 9th, 20 days later. According to HMV, which I forgot to look up what that was, but it's like a music site thing. Bill Carr, that was according to HMV. Bill Carr of Amazon said they sold out of all Jackson and Jackson 5 CDs within minutes of the news of his death.
Damn.
In Japan,
People didn't
6
have
of
them
his-
already, apparently.
do what?
Because people didn't have them already, apparently.
What
No, they wanted to sell them.
Well, they probably didn't.
that's
Remember,
true.
this is 2009 Amazon too. This isn't 2024
Yeah,
Amazon.
that's true.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure they probably bought it just to sell them.
Well, people are using things like Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not like they do today. And Amazon sold out. That's crazy. And there's still record stores that existed. I don't even know what the stats are in those. We know that the stats are in how many records sold.
I think like iTunes was like maybe like a year old or
So
something.
we're
like
going to
that.
talk about that because he set records in the digital realm too in 2009. So this is what I keep stressing it. This isn't what we're used to today. In Japan, 6 of his albums made the SoundScan Japan's top. That's their top 200 albums chart. Now, again, 2009, guys. 6 of his albums make the top 200 chart. In the UK, on the Sunday following his death, his albums occupied 14 of the top 20 places on the Amazon.co.uk sales chart. In the U.S., Jackson broke 3 chart records on the first Billboard issue date that followed his death. The entire top 9 position on Billboard's top pop catalog albums featured titles related to him. By week 3, it would be the entire 12 positions that he took over.
Jeez.
Number Ones, the album Number Ones, which I actually own, was the best-selling album of the week and topped the catalog chart with sales of 108,000, an increase from 2,340% of 2,340%. And the Essential Michael Jackson and Thriller sold over 100,000 units, and this is all within like the first week or two. By August,
He's not even cold yet.
died in June. By August, he had sold nearly 3.8 million albums and 7.6 million tracks in the U.S. alone.
And none of
My
this
ears-
was new music for the record, right?
No,
None of this is
all
new. This is
pre-existing
all old stuff.
albums. Like I said, Number Ones
Yeah.
was fairly new, but that was just an album of his Number Ones.
Yeah, it's like greatest hits kind of thing.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
starting to think.
Right. You see reasons.
Mhm.
You're already seeing reasons.
Yep.
So, like I said, by August in the U.S., 3.8 million albums a month later, and 7.6 million tracks. That's just U.S. By year's end of 2009, he became the best-selling artist of the year, selling 8.2 million albums in the U.S. He also became the first artist in history to have 4 of the top 20 best-selling albums in a single year in the U.S., nearly doubling the sales of his nearest competitor. He was the third best-selling digital artist of 2009 in the U.S., selling approximately 12.35 million units. In the 12 months following his death, he sold 35 million albums worldwide. His estate generated revenues of over $1 billion in the year following his death.
Well, that his bet got paid off.
Yes, and then some, my friends. So here's some theories as to why, he might have faked his own death and
Yeah,
faked that he also.
hypothetically, theoretically.
So there are theories out there, right? There's theories
Speculatively.
allegedly. There are theories out there that have suggested that the King of Pop, who at the time was heavily in debt, wanted to flee from his creditors. Like I said, we don't know where his will went.
possibly
and-
accusers.
What
I
do you
mean,
mean?
you think about that too. It was like that was the end of his life was not exactly controversy
Great.
free.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, and that's
you know,
all this plays very
Potentially
heavily.
some accusers as well.
Absolutely, 100%. So there, like I said, we don't know where his will went, and we had this massive uptick in sales. So much so, this is something he would have known. Like he would have known that after people die, their sales go up, and after someone like he dies, sales
Yeah.
really go
It doesn't
up.
just go up; it skyrockets. Apparently,
Yes.
It's just
And consider
insane.
the person who has one of the best-selling albums of all time in Thriller what's going to happen when somebody like if he passes away, what's going to happen? You look at the history of artists and stuff that weren't even famous, like Jim Croce, who I love Jim Croce, but like Jim Croce, no one listened to him until he died, and then right after he passed away, he became like uber famous. Vincent Van Gogh, same thing. I mean, this shit happens all the time. So now imagine somebody who is really famous, like Prince's sales went up after he died too. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he was like #1 on the charts and stuff. I don't think they went up to this level.
No, not like that.
When we talk about the whole joking like Prince versus Michael Jackson thing, one thing to recall is Prince didn't have quite the controversy in the media that Michael Jackson had for years and years and years, which kind of put him in the spotlight. And I think that helps, as unfortunate as it is.
Prince is very closed off, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some controversy here and
Yeah.
there. Nothing.
I mean, he literally had a hit song called "Controversy." Which is,
and well,
kinda
Michael
weird.
Jackson, as we know, had a couple of songs about that. "Leave Me Alone" and "Scream" are all about,
Yep.
you know, the media and how people portrayed him and attacking him and things like that. So,
both
Wasn't
cool
Billie Jean
videos.
about that too?
Billie Jean is about a girl. He says it's more about things he saw that happened to his brothers, but like fans who would go crazy and say that they had babies with them and all this and that shit, and it's just weird. And I'm sure that kind of stuff happens way more
On
often.
the road.
His sales go way up, you know, but he's also falling apart, literally. Mentally, he's falling apart, but he's literally falling apart too. We've
His
all
nose fall off?
well, there were
Again?
rumors that it was
Yeah.
getting close to doing that. He had a lot of plastic surgery, and we're talking about a guy who's already has some body issues and the way he looks. And what do you do when you're Michael Jackson and you know you're going to spend your life, whether you want it or not, even if you try to avoid being in the public eye, you know it's always going to be damn near impossible. What do you do? Like how?
Well,
how do you
I
get
will
away from-
look at the. I would look into the man in the mirror, and I will ask him to change his ways.
God damn it. That was so smooth too. Like I should have seen it
Thank you.
coming, but I didn't see it coming at all. I like that. I'm
But
gonna
no,
applaud you,
seriously,
Kevin. That
how
was good.
how do you stay out of the spotlight when you're deteriorating from plastic surgery and you already have body issues and you're getting to a point like, how do I keep people from seeing me? Like, how do you do it? When you're Michael Jackson, that's going to be really tough. Even if you close yourself off, you retire and you hide in Neverland Ranch forever, there's going to be paparazzi outside. It's going to be a thing forever, right?
And the longer you hide away, the more interested people are going to be. Is like, wait, what's going on with this guy? Where is he at? Like, where's he been?
Yeah, it's the anniversary of something or whatever, and they're going to want to know. They're going to hound the shit out of the guy. This was happening when he was alive, which is something we're going to talk about in a second because it kind of leads into some of this. So what happens now that he's just shut himself off from the world? They're going to be chomping at the bit. You know, they're going to want to know why. They're going to want to talk to him. Everybody's going to be bugging him. So maybe he sees this as a way out. Maybe he sees this as like, I can fake this death thing. I can set up this trust. I can move out of the country. And how many people? So we assume things here in the United States that we just know. Here, if somebody has a giant mansion with a private zoo and all this shit, we know about it. But there are places in the world where rich people, we don't know anything about what's going on in their life. So maybe he moves out of the country and he has a big place somewhere with a fucking private zoo again. We
Hanging
don't
out
know.
in Cuba with Tupac.
How
Could
would
be a
we-
human
Right.
zoo. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
It would be weird.
I mean, shit, Lita Ford
call
was
this
living on
one
the island
Kyle.
for like 20 years.
Yeah, and so well, there you go. He had he had I can buy an island money.
Yeah. Giraffe money,
Yeah.
island money.
Buy it, not live on it. Buy it.
No, people
Hopefully,
buy
it wasn't
and
next
live
to
on islands.
Epstein's island.
Yeah, I was gonna
People
say,
buy
but,
and
yeah.
live on islands. He could easily be doing that. We don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, if anyone had the money and the people around him to pull something like this off, it was Michael Jackson. Like we've heard rumors of it before, like somebody faked their death. And sometimes I'm like, you got to have a certain amount of loyal people around you and money to pull that shit off because this
Yeah.
isn't something you can just walk out and do. You have to have.
And plus, Michael was very Machiavellian when he was alive. Well,
Mhm.
Let's
Or
connect him to
still
Tupac
is
some
alive.
more.
well, I mean, I believe Michael being alive before I believed Tupac being alive.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I lean a little
I
more.
did-
We're gonna do a whole Tupac episode.
Mhm.
too. but that one's hard for me because I've seen fucking really convincing video and shit. Like, oh, that's weird. Like, and again, this was before. I mean, we're talking '96. So again, you're not fucking deep faking stuff.
Right.
So it's weird. We'll do a whole episode on Tupac as well, because that's one we joke that we got to get Connie in on that one,
Yeah.
Matt's wife, because she's totally on board with the Tupac conspiracy. So some people think that certain organizations were actually trying to have him killed. Some even suggest he was murdered. So maybe that was a reason for him to get out too. Because, hey, I'm also got people coming after me. And here's the thing, whether we believe that or not, or think it or not, doesn't mean Michael didn't think that that was happening. I'll get to that. So allegedly, a federal agent came forward in 2015 to expose one of Jackson's final phone calls, claiming that he was aware of a plot for his murder by federal agents. I know it's the Sun, but the Sun reported a note allegedly written by Michael Jackson weeks before his death, and the note read, "They're trying to murder me." It also said he was scared for his life, and the system wants to kill me for my catalog. Now, do I think that was really happening? No. Do I think Michael might have thought that was happening? Yes. I can see him totally thinking it. LaToya Jackson indicated that Michael Jackson was killed by business interests in order to profit from his estate. In the memoir The Fall Guy, it said that Michael repeatedly told LaToya he was going to be killed for his estate. So again, do I think that happened? No. Do I think he thought that might be happening? Yes. So it might be yet another reason for him to try to get out. Like, okay, I'm physically falling apart. I'm in debt to people. I can't. So there's a lot of stuff that we've heard about him on a physical level, that he was in pain, that he was kind of deteriorating, like he just didn't have it in him anymore to do certain things. You take all this into account, and maybe it's like, how do I get out? How do I get out? You guys want me to drop one in you've probably never thought about?
Go for it.
Who was Michael Jackson married to?
Priscilla. Or
No.
Lisa Marie.
And who was she the daughter of?
Elvis,
Elvis.
who also famously.
And how many people have they
possibly faked
said?
his death.
How many people have said that Elvis Presley faked his own death?
Hmm.
So there's this weird theory out there that they helped him. That Lisa Marie,
Theoretically,
The
And
she
Memphis
would know
Mafia.
how.
Jackson.
So does that mean Lisa Marie has faked her death too?
No.
No, she's
Well, I don't buy that. I don't buy. Well, first of all, I don't think Elvis. This is the seventh. I don't think Elvis.
I just picture.
70s, yeah, I don't think you have the capability of doing
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they helped him. However, what might be in his mind is being around them so much and hearing these things over the years. He might be like, "But what if I could fake my own death? What if I could get away with it?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Just saying. And then we have some stuff. So I'm going to give you guys some real quick, some of the quote unquote evidence. And then I want to just have a full on discussion to get everybody's thoughts about why they think he did, why they think he didn't, why they think he could or could not have gotten away with it, and some of the evidence we have to back it up.
Now, real quick, for those of you watching, I will be popping these up on screen, and one of them is a photo that I have that Jay's provided to me.
Yeah,
So
and
I'll edit these
explain the
in
photo
as we
when
go. So
put it up.
just
And
let me know when to put that up too.
I will. We'll get some clarity about certain people in that photo. For those of you not watching, we will put the photo up on our social media as well, so you can check it out there.
It'll be a little more clear than Casey's.
Yeah, for those of you watching, he's decided he wanted to remain anonymous this weekend.
He's scared of Puff Daddy.
Yeah,
He thinks he fully believes.
I've
been hiding in a very undisclosed
Some nights
location.
coming in after we'll put a voice changer on you for
he
this.
believes
episode,
that Puff
too.
Daddy and MC Hammer had Michael Jackson killed.
Just combine everything.
That's what Cat Williams told me. At least.
shit.
You know. I mean, he practically lives down the street, so yeah. Talk all the time.
Oh man. So a close friend of Michael Jackson, Hollywood hairdresser Stephen Earhart, claimed he had information about the star that this was after his death that, quote, not even the family knows. He posted on Facebook, "A tip for the believers, the Michael Jackson believers. You heard it here first, an announcement of sorts. And in a couple of months, or at least at the end of the year, you will be receiving some very good news. It's almost unbelievable. And not even the family knows, but I do. Nothing more ever was released by
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Why was nothing released? Was it made up? Was it bullshit?
Yeah.
Did somebody stop him? Did Michael Jackson decide to stay in hiding because he was afraid there would be legal ramifications, which there would be? You can't fake your own death. Now, I've often wondered about this. You can't legally fake your own death, but there are rumors, and I tried to substantiate these. Apparently, everybody says this, but I was like, I couldn't find anything to the contrary. That I've heard it, and it's repeatedly, that the death certificate was never officially signed. Legally, no death certificate was ever signed for
Now
Michael Jackson.
I'm thinking of something. You know, it is illegal to fake your own death. But,
Right. But what if
but what if there was something else going on where he had to be put under like witness protection?
Whitsec or something?
Yeah.
It's illegal to legally fake your own
Michael
death.
Jackson, mob informant. Just saying.
He's
Hey,
his new song, Informer. So
stop
Well,
it.
we already know he
But-
works with the Men in Black, so it's all right.
that's true.
Yeah,
He does
yeah.
work
It's
in
Agent M.
Black. But here's the thing: it's illegal to legally fake your death. But what if you just disappeared and told people you were dead, but you don't legally? You still pay taxes and do all the. I mean, I'm sure someone would be able to announce it, but I'm just saying, I don't know where that line is drawn, where it becomes illegal. Like if I told you guys, like if I just disappeared tomorrow and had somebody tell you guys all that I died, and that's why I'm not here anymore, and I just moved somewhere and you never heard from me again.
What you're saying is, if
didn't
you
do anything
leave here
illegal.
tomorrow, would we still remember you?
Shut the fuck up. God, I hate you guys sometimes.
Can I have your Funko Pops?
So if I die, you can have some of them. My
Yeah.
kids might want some. That's very sad to know. The only thing I have of value to anyone are my Funko Pop. But
I mean, you got a pretty extensive Tron collection.
yeah,
too.
I got some cool,
some cool
The
records.
Tron collection's probably worth some money. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually. So, why was it a closed casket? I know that's a weird question, and there could be valid reasons, but he didn't die in a horrendous wreck or anything. He
Right.
passed away in his sleep, and it was a closed casket. I mean, there could be emotional reasons for that, but maybe not. Also, here's a good question for you guys. Let's see if you know the answer. Where's the body? Do you guys know where the body of Michael Jackson is?
No, I don't.
Next to the Elephant Man's bones.
Ooh.
Well, let me tell you a little
Actually,
bit about
that'd be
this.
kind of cool. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
let me tell you a little bit about this because this is very interesting. So the casket is at Forest Lawn. It's a very famous place. That's where I think like Walt
Marilyn
Disney and-
Monroe.
yeah, a lot of
just
people.
all famous celebrities there.
His casket is there inside a memorial thing that you cannot go inside of. You're not. They won't let you. But his body's not in that casket.
What? What? Why?
He wasn't buried at Neverland, which is what his family wanted. They thought he would want it, but there was a law in California that you cannot be buried outside of a cemetery. They were going to fight the law and probably would have won because it was like private property kind of thing, and they could have Neverland established as some
I was
memorial.
gonna say,
but
couldn't they have like a private, like
So they-
cemetery built
they
on
could.
property?
But it would have taken months to win that battle, and they didn't want. His mom didn't want to
true.
do that. So they probably would have won it, but again, she just didn't want to go that long. So here's the thing: she started letting it rumors. This is what I've heard. His mom, Catherine, starts letting little rumors slip to friends, who then let it out to other people that the family had that originally she wanted the casket entombed in concrete so people couldn't steal his body because she was afraid of it. So instead, the family has a private funeral and they cremate him and dump the ashes at Neverland Ranch. This is all rumor.
But
They've never come out and said
it's
it.
kind of the most likely thing. Like that would ensure that nobody could get his body. Is there just
Agreed. But
is
it
no
also makes
body
it very
anymore.
convenient because there is no body.
True.
And nothing official saying that's what happened. Only rumors saying that's what happened.
Yeah.
So it's almost like all these little bits are being fed out just enough so that it's like, what happened? So most people think that he's entombed in the casket in Forest Lawn, but he's not. It's like he's not there, according to everything you hear. It's just an empty casket. And he never was in the casket. At the memorial service, none of it. His body was never in any of those. There was an autopsy, allegedly, the results of
Someone.
which have been made completely private, and none of us get to see ya. We don't know what the autopsy complete. They've said, oh, he died of this, but like no one's ever seen. And then his family apparently tried to have or did have a second autopsy performed. Joe came out after all this, and he's just he was
Piece of shit.
yeah, he's not a good dude.
No, he was
Yeah.
not.
Could you imagine
You
if?
can
course-
tell by that weird thin mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
That apparently Vince McMahon is now sporting, but
Oh,
whatever.
Well, you know what's really sad is when after he died, Joe's main concern seemed to be his estate and all
Yeah.
that shit. What was going to happen to it, and that
Could you imagine if part of Michael Jackson's will was that upon his death, Joe Jackson got the shit beat out of him as much as he beat the shit out of his kids?
You know,
That'd be kind
I
of
was
awesome.
thinking the
Like,
same
we have to
thing.
honor his wishes, guys.
It's
Right.
yeah, sorry, we just got to beat you up, man.
Yeah.
Bubbles gets to fucking go
Oh
at you
God!
for like 3
Fucking
minutes.
a chimp going off on Joe Jackson. God
Rip his
damn,
face off.
that'd be fucking great.
It's a really sad thing to know how much, though, if you ever watch the videos, how much Michael tried to make his dad happy. And, like, it's always been sad to me to, if you've ever known somebody that their one of their parents was physically abusive. There's a line in the movie Stand By Me, if you've never seen it, where Teddy Duchamp, played by Corey Feldman, his dad's abusive. So much so that at one point he holds his ear to, like, a stove and burns it. And he gets really mad at a scene and starts crying because this dude's making fun of his dad, calling him a loony and this and that. And the voiceover is saying, like, it's weird to me, like, basically how much he loved his dad, who used to beat the shit out of him, where I couldn't care less about my own dad, who the meanest thing he ever did to me was spanking me once for eating bleach from under the sink. But it's weirdly true, because whenever I've known somebody who was abused by a parent, it's like, instead of hating them, they almost like feel like it's their fault and they need to go out of their way to make them love them more. And it's bizarre, but I've seen video. There's a famous one where Michael and Janet buy Joe this like fucking huge boat for his birthday, and Michael is giddy as shit, jumping up and down, so excited to give it to him. And Joe's like, oh yeah, that's great. And it's like Michael is so excited, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to give the man shit ever.
Right.
Like, but you know,
Let's go on this boat ride. Oh, where are we going? International waters. Oh wow, we're gonna go deep sea fishing. Yeah, Dad. That's what we're gonna do.
His name's Dexter.
Deep sea fishing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. No one can
So,
charge us.
guys-
International waters.
Have you guys seen the videos? Have you seen the video of the corner van where they get somebody out of it really quick and walk them to a door, and they've
Yep.
got the head covered,
Yep.
and the person filming it is like way it's in a under it's
For
on a
those
parking
watching,
garage.
it's on screen right now.
Oh, sweet! You're gonna put it up. Nice. They're in a parking garage, and they like rush him really fast. And the person filming is way off in the distance, like hiding behind a chain link fence. There's one more too. Jackson's corpse was flown by helicopter to the L.A. County Coroner's office in Lincoln Heights, and there's paparazzi filming that. And if you watch in the background, the body that is covered in a sheet starts to move and almost sit up, and the like guys kind of like trying to get him to go back down. Very weird.
Yeah,
But-
like why would you choose that moment to sit up? First off, like,
Yeah.
Well, he's in a helicopter.
okay,
He's trying to-
we're clear.
It's not
You can
safe.
sit up now. Your secret's safe with us.
Maybe he had an itch.
What if it was rigor mortis?
He's like, guys,
Well, and it could have been like, and it
guys,
could
my
all be
leg
fake.
itches right now. I got
But
scratchy.
I've never found anything online to show what that video really was, if it wasn't what they claimed it was, which is paparazzi filming. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I want to bring up really quick, and I do have some stuff to get. Do you guys know who Dave is?
No.
No.
Okay. So Dave was a child whose father tried to kill him by burning him alive. Suffered severe scarring all over his whole body. So he and Michael Jackson became friends when Dave was young, very young, and they remained friends over the years. So if you look at them later, and this is the photo that Matt was referring to, you guys can go look it up online. It's also going to be on our social media and whatnot. But Michael Jackson oddly looks like Dave, sort
Yeah.
of in a weird way.
I'm gonna pop it up right here.
so you
right
guys
now,
can see it.
so you
The
guys
other
can
thing
see
you
it.
need to understand, there's a third photo in the one we're putting up, and this is Michael Jackson in the video, the short film for Ghost in full makeup effects. This is important. I want
Okay,
to kind of get
with the
this.
context now, yeah, that makes
So
a lot more sense.
Dave was a real human being. I don't mean to take anything away from that.
Yeah.
They became very close friends over the years. Dave passed away a few years back. He became an artist. He changed his name to Dave. That was not his real name, but he wanted to. His name was David, I forget, but he didn't want to be named after his father anymore.
I understand.
Yeah. So it's weird how much they can kind of look alike. And there's some other things that I really want to. I've got an audio clip I'm going to play for you guys here in a second because they don't just look alike, guys. They sound a lot alike, and especially
Wait, they talk like a Dick voice.
especially after Michael's death. So there are those people who feel that Dave, because they were friends from the time Dave was a little kid, gave Michael Jackson permission to sometimes disguise himself as him. And then after his death, it wasn't always Dave we saw, but sometimes Michael as Dave.
It's
So
like an Andy
the
Kaufman situation.
The first thing I'm going to play is this is voice clips side of Michael Jackson speaking, and then Dave. You'll clearly know which is which, but only because it breaks it so that you can. But here is a clip of the two of them talking.
These will be my final show.
He is a criminal, and he caused all this to free myself.
This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call. I'll be
Of his name
performing
and his legacy
songs my fans want to hear. These will be
caused all this
my
to free
final
myself
show
of his
performances
name
in
and
London.
his legacy.
This
I
will be
decided
it.
to
This is it.
Wait,
When I say this
okay.
is it, it means
Through
this is
change.
it.
So one of those is Dave. One of those is Michael.
Is it like going back and forth between the two, or was it like
First, it goes back and
here's
forth,
one,
and then they played them
and-
on top of each other.
okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
they sound very, very
This is
similar.
eerily
Yeah.
close, right? Eerily, and it's not just that they sound similar. In later stuff after Michael's death, Dave gives this interview, and in the interview, he says certain things that are like almost directly things that Michael has referenced at one point. It's very bizarre, very, very bizarre. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but there is something else that I'm going to play another clip for you guys. And this is important because when I say, did he have the ability to do some of this? I think so. And I'm going to explain this. This is a clip from the brother. Do you guys know the podcast Brotherly Love? It's
Is it the Lawrence brothers?
the Lawrence brothers.
Yeah.
This is them talking.
We saw Michael Jackson in a wheelchair dressed as
Turn it up a little bit.
We were right next to him. We didn't even know. We were in like one of those back. They were talking how they take us back. As when we were going into the opening of Captain EO,
And he was there to see it, but he didn't want to go as Michael.
Right.
He went as an old lady.
that was so
That makes
freaking
sense.
cool. And we're in the elevator, and Michael
I don't
Jackson.
want to go as myself. I want to go as an old lady. Okay, Michael.
But he was a fan, dude. He was a fan,
He was.
and he was like, "I'm a fan of yours." We were like,
I know. I know.
Who's this creepy old lady?
It was Michael Jackson, man.
Yeah, Captain EO, dude.
That's sick.
So that is the Lawrence brothers talking about a time they went as kids to see Captain EO, and they're sitting there, and there's this little old lady sitting in a wheelchair next to him, and they realize it's not because he starts talking to them because he's a fan of theirs, and it's Michael Jackson dressed up as a little old lady. This is actually something that we know for a fact is very, very common. This isn't some stuff we've made up. Famous singer and also friend of Michael Jackson's, Akon, has come out and said, like, no, this dude was a master of disguise. Anytime that he would go out and want to take his kids to a movie or any of that stuff, he had special effects artists around him at all times, and he was really into it. And he would literally don
Who did
a
the effects
disguise.
for Thriller?
Yeah.
Rick Baker.
Well, not just Thriller. Ghost.
Well, I'm just saying.
is-
Yeah.
He did it.
The
he
Wiz.
He knew people who could make him look like anybody else.
Mhm.
So, and apparently it would happen
You're
a lot
starting
when
to
he would
convince
go
me,
out.
for the record. You are starting
He
to
would
convince
go
me.
out. He would go out with his kids. This is common knowledge, and take them to a movie or whatever, take them to the park, and he would put on prosthetics so that people wouldn't recognize him, so that he could go out for a couple hours. This is real common knowledge too. So this is around him. There's also a really famous photo. Now this was from a few years back of Paris, and in the backseat of her car, she took a selfie.
Yep.
And if you look in the back seat, there's and people then highlighted it and zoomed in,
Be up on screen right here.
and it
too.
looks a lot like Michael sitting in the back seat of her car with her, which is weird why she would take the picture. But if you take it and post it and don't realize that they're in the shot, and then somebody goes in and looks at it, so I don't know. So here's my theory of this whole thing, because what I want to get specific is, okay, so let's say this guy fakes his own death, right? He sets aside a trust, so he starts coming up with this. Like, this is me, right? He starts coming up with this idea because he's falling apart. He's got people after him, not just, I don't mean to kill him, but like literally there's people, they won't leave him the hell alone. The media is always up his ass. He's sick of dealing with all this shit.
And they have been
Physically,
since he
he's-
was a kid.
Physically,
Right.
yeah, 100%. Physically, he's falling apart. He's in debt to some people, and it's getting a little out of hand. All right, he's heard stories all these years, and he never took them serious. But hey, what if Elvis faked it? So what if I could do that? What if I could pull that off? Could I pull that off? Well, I have the money. I have people around me who would probably back me up on this. Because I don't think if people knew, I don't think it was a lot of people. I think most people around him thought he was dead. I think a few of his family members might have known or known later, and a few close personnel. But I think a majority of the people, like, listen, we don't know what paramedic took him to the hospital. We don't know who tried to revive him. Could they have been real people or actors or people he paid off? How would we ever know? We would never fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say he decides he wants to fake his death. He says, can I pull this off? Okay, I think I can. I set up this trust. I take that trust, a big chunk of the money goes to some fund that I have access to, right? Then I buy property, an island somewhere, Stu, God knows. I set up a house there. I can live the rest of my days with my own private zoo and seeing only the people I want to see when I want to fucking see them. And I will always make money for the rest of my life because I get a piece of this action, right? So maybe he does that. I think he would have the staff around him to know how to legally set that trust fund up so that he could get away with it.
True.
But I think maybe at first he's not used to it, right? So he starts popping up places in disguise, right? And people are like, is that Michael? Is that not Michael? Because the one thing he wasn't very good at disguising was his voice. He could disguise his face, but not his voice. So talking.
Well, apparently,
Yeah.
He does apparently have a
Say.
deeper voice. But you can still call
Yeah.
it Michael, if you've ever heard
Okay.
his voice. But he does apparently speak in a deeper voice, and that soft-spoken voice was more of a persona that he put on. But yeah, I think we've talked about that on here. But maybe he's not used to quite getting out of the spotlight yet. So at first we kind of start, is that him? Was that him? Did we just see Michael? Did he just pop up in a video? But maybe he starts to get a little better at it as over time goes by. Plus, let's just say it, man. We don't know what he would look like today with all the surgery. No idea. Like what he would look like if he kept having plastic surgery or whatever. Then Stu brought up something earlier about impersonations and impersonators. Would that hurt him or help him? Because if you were out tomorrow and you saw Michael Jackson, would you think you saw Michael Jackson, or were you like, that dude fucking looked like Michael Jackson?
No, I think it's that person there.
Right, because we have literally seen people
There's actually a professional
that have
person.
and who have
Right.
gotten surgery to look like him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you actually saw him tomorrow, you wouldn't think you actually saw him tomorrow.
And they're all over the world.
Yeah, and we don't know what he would look like now. We don't know what he would physically look like today because of the surgeries he's already had.
That in years gone by, if you get aging.
Right. So the aging's going to happen, and the
Yeah.
surgeries, the plastic surgery. Unfortunately, did you guys see what Kenny Rogers looked like towards his death? He didn't look like the same guy. Big beard, but
Did he look like?
because of all the plastic surgery, yeah.
That was unfortunate.
You have too much, and your face starts to deteriorate. And there were rumors that Michael Jackson, like from people who were close to him, that his nose really wasn't real anymore. That it was pretty much total just fake because there was no cartilage left in his nose.
Right.
I heard
Just
somebody say,
nostrils.
yeah, I heard somebody say the other. It's like that scene from
Captain America.
Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, I thought
No,
you were going to say when Red Skull reveals himself and it's just Michael Jackson.
No, Nothing But Trouble. Remember, he has a penis for a nose. It's clearly.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just one of those weird things where, like, the more
Michael Jackson a penis for a nose?
no, the dude.
Oh,
He checked out for like 10 minutes and then came back in. He was like,
No,
Michael
dude,
Jackson,
wake up,
penis
Stu.
nose? What?
The dude from the movie Nothing But Trouble.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan
Dan
Aykroyd's
Aykroyd,
character in Nothing But
Oh, yeah,
Trouble.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
clearly
Judge or
a
whatever.
penis that he has for his
Which
nose.
also has Tupac as an
Tupac
extra.
is in it. It's all
Yeah.
connections.
all
All
connected.
falling into place.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
I'm just saying though, if say okay,
A couple
let's
fake noses in the movie actually. Got
let's take all three of you.
No,
I'm gonna
Humpty
I'm gonna,
Hump. There you
Hump.
go.
Yep.
I'm gonna present a question to all three of you. You can all answer. I offer you $500,000.
Okay.
Yes.
You're somebody who I'm like, there's a chance that you're gonna be the paramedic driving the van or whatever. I offer you $500,000 to say that you didn't see me, that I, as far as you knew, I was dead. Stu, are you gonna keep your mouth shut for $500K? Stu, so you can't. You got.
This is an audio podcast, Stu.
Stu said nodding.
Well,
Kevin,
you said say nothing.
would you? Oh,
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
Kev,
Well-
would you take the 500,000 to say that, hey, as far as you know, I'm dead?
Well, usually my going rate is $1 million, but for Michael Jackson, sure, I'll take the 500,000.
And Matt,
And I mean, currently Kevin looks like he's in witness protection anyway, as it is.
Matt, would you take 500K to say, nope, no, he was dead?
Only 500K
Yeah.
for the
Only
initial. Yes.
$1 million, I'd be
Okay.
like,
After a
Well,
while,
I went
I would
with
probably have
500K
to
for a
have my
reason.
silence bought.
I went for 500 because the chances are really good that if anybody lied about it, they were paid more than $500,000. I just went there to see. My point was there's a lot of people that would be like, "Fuck yeah, I don't care." Yeah, he's
Question
dead.
is-
Like,
question
I
is,
don't know who you're talking about. Who's this Michael Jackson guy?
Right?
The
Moonwalking? What's that?
government would be like, where'd you get $1 million?
Yeah, because nobody ever somehow gets money into an account without claiming it to the. You get 500,000 cash. It's a little different story,
Yeah.
isn't it? But
We've
and
seen
this is
Ozark.
just,
Yeah.
this is literally just serious. I'm not saying anybody was ever paid off, but I imagine some people would have.
Somebody
to have
probably
been
had to
paid
have
off.
been.
Oh, yeah.
So then comes up the Dr. Murray situation, right? So what about him? So was he paid prior to this or was he just a patsy? Did they just not care? Did he just go down for it even though he didn't actually kill him?
I could see him being a patsy for
I
all this.
totally could. Sorry, you're going to jail for 2 years. 4
Yeah.
year sentence, you go to for 2 years, and that's just the way it is.
How old was the guy?
He was older. The
So-
doctor?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
It was like he was in his 50s.
50s
Like,
probably.
Okay,
yeah.
so 2 years. He's get well paid afterwards.
Well, he might not even be well paid. He might actually think Michael Jackson died. The
Yeah.
guy got accused. He has claimed that this ruined his entire life because he was accused of murder, essentially, for administering the drugs, which,
Well,
if
you were
Michael-
kind of a glorified drug dealer.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what most doctors are, aren't they?
Someone said the other
Yeah,
day, who was it? Someone famous the other day. I was watching a video, and they said, the problem with people like Michael Jackson is the problem you get with a lot of these really uber famous people is there's not a no person in their life. Nobody,
Everyone's a yes man.
no one tells them no. And when nobody tells you no, that's a really bad thing because you start to think you're always right. And so it was like Michael Jackson's he'd had like a nurse or somebody that worked for him prior, and he had asked her to help with the propofol thing, and she said no because she's like, for just this sort of thing, nobody's telling him no. And so he just gets whatever he wants, and you don't learn anything that way. You just think that it's okay. And he had told her, like, it's safe because someone told him it was safe, that the propofol thing is safe, but it's not always safe, especially with all the other meds and stuff in the system.
Yeah.
So was this guy, did he accidentally kill Michael Jackson, or was he just a patsy who they were like, he's going to go down, but maybe they didn't even know he'd go down.
Yeah.
Maybe at first they thought he'd be fine, and then it's like, well, it's too late now. So he's going to jail. So what are we going to do? I don't know. Like I said, I think most people around him, if this happened, I think most people around him believed he was dead. I think there was a handful of people who are probably still making money
Oh,
to
yeah.
this day that helped him fake it. I think a few of his family members know. I don't even know that they always knew, but I think that a few probably know now. Probably his mom, and I think Paris, maybe a couple others, but I don't know. So
He doesn't want his dad to know. He just wants his dad to
Well,
think he's dead. He's like, don't
he's
come
dead,
after me
so
again.
It really doesn't matter. Joe
Oh,
died
yeah.
years ago.
Good. All right. Good riddance.
Joe passed away a few years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Had to be about that
It
because I
was
went
like
and saw
before the pandemic. Yeah.
I went and saw Janet in concert, and she did a little tribute thing because he had passed away a few months before that. So that was before. That was probably 2018.
She's coming around again.
I know. So let's talk about it. Let's start with Stewie because I'm looking at him. Stewie, what are your thoughts overall? First of all, do you think he could have faked his own death? Could have,
Probably.
And do you think if he did it, he could have gotten away with it?
Probably not.
Okay, so you don't believe he did fake his own death. You
No.
think he's actually dead.
I just don't think with everyone that was so glamored with him and everything that he could get away long enough to just do anything by himself, to plan anything out. And I don't think he had the capability of
That's what I said. I don't.
being by himself just for a minute.
If he did it, he didn't do it alone.
Right.
He had people that helped him. I don't know his inner circle. I'm sure there were people that were his little finger. that's a game of
It's a Game of
that's a
Thrones.
Game
Yeah.
of Thrones reference. I'm sure he had those people that he confided in and that helped him conspiratorially. Because there's questions I have like, okay, why do you announce a huge tour and then fake your death right before it? Wouldn't you do it right after? And then I'm like, no, not if you wanted to do it right. You wouldn't. You would do it right before this huge tour.
Yeah.
One, because what you've done is you've told people, I'm going to go out and we're going to do this big prolific thing, right?
Yeah, come
So
see
people-
me. Come see me.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's real weird. Why would he? But you
And it's the
save all the
last
money
time
that
I'm
you were
doing
going to
it.
spend on the tour.
Yeah.
You save all the tour where you're not out physically going through this shit every night. And it looks like you've built up all this interest. Now you're dead. And people go buy all your shit. So Stu thinks no. Let's go to Matt. Matt, do you think he could have done it and got away with it? First of all,
I think despite the debt that he had, yeah, I think he had the means to do it. I think he still would have the means to do it because it's
Keep
not
in
like
mind-
he just stopped making money.
almost 400
But-
million in debt
Yeah.
to a net worth of 200 and some million, but his assets are worth 500 million. So even if he used his assets to clear the debt, he'd still be a dude with a couple $100 million.
Yeah. You'd still have draft money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that God, you have me
Him and Bieber.
You have me agreeing with Stu again, which is annoying as hell. So I think he has the means to do it, but I don't think he could stay out of the spotlight long enough, even if he wanted to stay out of the spotlight. Because like you said, he wanted to go see Captain EO and he went and saw it with fucking Joey Lawrence.
Yeah, but we're talking that's like
and he went
80.
in disguise, but still he felt the need to go out and be in public.
Keep in mind, though, and I think that was an issue at first if he did this, but
Yeah.
keep in mind, we're talking about a difference between late 80s, early 90s, and now a 50-year-old Michael Jackson. So at first, as you get older, and I think everybody here can contest to this,
Yes.
you have less and less desire to be around people.
Yeah.
True debt.
You're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go out tonight and fucking deal with people.
Yeah, we did it last night, and I was like, I am too old for this shit. But it was
All
quite
of this
fun.
is just to say that now we've got a 50-year-old Michael Jackson. At what
True.
point?
Yeah.
If we're in our 40s, and we don't like fucking going out that and being around people. At some point, maybe he was just really tired of it.
Yeah.
Just didn't fucking want to deal with it anymore. And I do agree that if he did this, at first he was struggling with it, and that's why at first he was popping up. People were like, I swear to God, that was Michael Jackson in a costume. Even like I said at his memorial service, a lot of people think the guy in the hat, and you can go look that up. The guy in the hat, people are like, that looked like
And
Michael
that's the
Jackson.
thing. Like, he could have watched it from home. It was being streamed everywhere.
Could
Or
have.
broadcast everywhere.
Would you go to your own funeral if you could?
I'm already there. So
All right, so you kind of agree with Stu. You think he could have pulled it off?
I think he had the means. I just don't think he had the wherewithal to just sit his ass at home for a while until it died down long enough and people kind of lost interest in trying to prove that he was alive or not. Like, I mean, literally, you said there's sightings at the memorial. Like, couldn't even wait, a week? And
I'll see.
he's already making
That's where I
appearances?
totally believe he couldn't have waited. Like the desire to go.
No, yeah, he's gonna
see his
screw
own
up.
funeral was just way too high for
yeah,
him.
he's like, who all's crying? Who's not crying?
Yeah.
Who's here waiting for me to be hauled off so they can open up the casket and take whatever I put inside it. Like,
so, Kev, that
come on.
leaves you. Well, what do you think? Do you think he could have pulled this off? First of all,
I think he could have pulled it off. I
do you?
do.
Is there any part of you that thinks he did?
I think he's still alive, but out of all, he is a very ingenious motherfucker. And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're
went
just
really
listening.
Silent. Okay. It just went really, really silent. But
Just paying attention.
We're just really into what you had to say, man.
Yeah.
oh well.
Being respectful for once.
For once, we don't do that very often.
Well, I'll keep talking. But if you told me that Michael Jackson, after he supposedly died, built a freaking bat cave underneath Neverland Ranch, I believe you, because Michael Jackson was
He's got
just
bat
that,
cave
you know,
money.
Machiavelli. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
man,
got
got
Batman
Fallout
money.
filter
He's
now.
like, I just believe anything Jason tells me.
Yeah,
You look like Michael J. White.
Yeah,
So
he does though.
it's
and that's a fact.
it's weird
Jack.
for me because I definitely think if anybody had the means to pull this off, he is
Oh, yeah.
that person.
Yeah.
Do I think he did? Sometimes I can tell you that if you told me tomorrow that turns out, yeah, he's alive, they found him, I wouldn't be that shocked. And if they definitively tomorrow said, no, it turns out here's the body, he really is dead, I wouldn't be that shocked. There are people like when I hear Elvis Presley fixes, I've never believed that ever.
No.
And I've seen the guy that it's really impressive that the pastor that they say is actually Elvis Presley because he looks just like him and sings just like him. However, there's a huge age discrepancy, like 30 years age discrepancy. And a lot of us are like, do we know who that pastor's dad was? Did Elvis ever go through town? Because this dude looks and sounds just like Elvis Presley. But he's out there. He's talked about it. They've done interviews with the guy, you know. So I've never believed that Elvis was actually still alive. I think it's one of those things where the fans kind of want to hold on to it. But
yeah.
I see so many reasons why Michael could be like, I want to escape. I want to get away. And
He wants to break free.
You got a group of guys in a room going, we can make this happen. Here's what has to be done, Michael. And you have to, you have to stay hidden. And then he kept popping up and they're like, no,
Like,
we said
stop.
stay hidden.
Yeah.
And that's why I said he could live in a different country in a huge mansion with lots of property, and none of us would ever know about it. We assume we would because we live in America and we think we know everything. There are millionaires out there doing all kinds of crazy shit. We don't know any. How many millionaires do you know of and what their lifestyle is
I
here
don't know any.
in the U.S.?
True.
We know of the famous
We
ones.
know a
We
few
know
of them, yeah.
Yeah, we know Elon Musk's lifestyle a little bit, and Jeff Bezos, and I've seen a tour of what's his face's windows. Why
Bill
can't I think of
Gates.
his- Yeah, Bill Gates' house once and stuff like that. But there's other millionaires and billionaires we don't know anything about the way they live. Not everybody wants to be in the spotlight. So if
Yeah.
he wanted to stay out and have a
Well, I
bunch,
mean, Steve Jobs before he died had just like a regular house. I mean, it was a nice house, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like a huge mansion.
wait, are we talking regular on like Steve Jobs level or regular
Yeah.
on our level?
I would say
I doubt he lived in a house like mine.
Yeah.
Oh, but if he did it, how did he stay out of the public eye? That's the point. What if he didn't? What if for a while he dressed up as characters like Dave and like still came out
Bruno
and
Mars.
on Bruno? Mars. But it's a weird thing to think about because he could. Like you could live. There are countries where nothing like you move there and you're safe from all the laws of the United States.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So once he got away and then money, what are you gonna do? Like it's weird to think that people would struggle to live off $200 million and that they could possibly go in debt because I could probably live the rest of my life off $2 million without ever struggling ever. And so
Right.
it's weird to think that there are people that could, but we just have different lifestyles.
But hey, we'll take that challenge if anybody wants to.
We'll see
Yeah.
if we can do it. I could live.
We'll
pretty
see.
good
It's a fun
party long
experiment, if
time.
anything.
Yeah, if nothing, we could bomb, we could tank.
Yeah.
So I could see him going. They set him up on an island somewhere with a nice house and his own little private zoo and rides and all that shit. And here's a couple $100 million. Go keep your head under and shut up. And he could struggle. Let me put it this way: there's about 55% of me that believes he's still alive or faked his own death, and then there's the rest that doesn't quite buy it. And like I said, if tomorrow they proved one or the other, either way, I wouldn't be over here going, "Holy shit!" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised." I buy it. I buy it. But what do you guys think? We want to know what you guys think, because I guarantee there's people out there right now going, "These guys are fucking stupid," and there's people out there going, "See, I fucking told all you guys. These guys just proved it. He's still alive." So yeah, wait till we get to the Tupac episode.
Oh,
I believe that
that
one.
should be
Believe it or
good.
not,
Special
I believe
guest
that one more than this one.
Connie.
And there's some really weird shit on that one that I'm like, holy shit. That was a rabbit hole I fell down one night and I never did get back out. There's some really bizarre shit, man. People seeing him, like videos that looks like him and his mom. People that have known him for years, like, yeah, man, I saw him. He's still alive. I hung out with him over in Cuba or wherever the hell he is these days. Weird stuff, but we'll get to that one at some point. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think Michael Jackson is still alive, or if he faked his own death, or if he was murdered. So there you go, guys. That was our Michael Jackson conspiracy episode. Let us know your thoughts. You can always reach out to us via our social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook. We are Tapeworms fans of the Mixtape Podcast over there. We are on TikTok and we are on Twitter. Easiest way is to go to the website, themixtapeshow.com, and you can, there's like a link tree there, it'll take you to any of that stuff, but all the stuff's listed. We're also available on all of those. We have Instagrams and stuff. I would say it probably goes like this. Stu's on it the most, then Matt, then me, then Kevin would be my guess. I don't know, does Kevin ever get on Instagram?
I
occasion.
probably troll it the most. I don't know about it.
I hardly ever bring mine up, though. I am on Twitter usually at least once a day, though, and Facebook. We're all on there from time to time. So if you guys want to go follow us and drop your thoughts, you can. It's also where you can go to do things like vote when we have the upcoming episode where we want you to vote and pick what you would like us to talk about. And we are on YouTube. So all these videos, well, most of them anyway, go up there when Matt gets them done.
Yeah.
It takes a little time.
We'll have to do some removal of digitization.
Turning the Titanic
for that up there. Yeah.
So, but be looking for that. You can find it. We do other stuff on the YouTube channel as well. So we have some fun over there when we release stuff. If you guys haven't gone back and listened, we did the East Coast versus West Coast rap episode, and we had an interview with Ben Westhoff right before that. Ben wrote a book all about West Coast rap. So that was really cool to have him on. We're trying to line up some more interviews, so stick around for some of those. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the new little segments and stuff that are coming down the line. We're giving movie and music updates and a couple other little things here and there. So hopefully you guys enjoy it and you guys keep coming back. Anything you guys want to say before we end this?
The amount of hours it takes to edit these dumbasses is ridiculous. Anyway, here's another part we had to cut.
Yo, microphone check, make it a microphone check, give it a microphone, I make it a microphone dead. Don't step to me, newbie.
We love you guys. Please come back next time where we talk about more cool music and movie and pop culture reference stuff. And that's it. Until next, we have the opportunity to speak to you fine folks at home. Remember to always
stay awesome.
Thank you for watching the mixtape. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell icon for notifications when new videos come out. And remember to always stay awesome.